Hello, friends. This is Dorie Clark, and I am here with Nick Gray. We are here with the weekly interview show Better, and Nick is the author of this book, The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. We are going to be talking about it today, and as you can see, we have a new innovation here for Better. This is we're apparently officially post-pandemic, folks, because we are doing it in person, live. So we're so excited to have all of you here and Nick Gray. We're going to welcome him in a moment, but we also want to see who you are. So please feel free to type into the chat box and let us know who you are, where you're dialing in from, and we're going to be taking your questions for Nick Gray, who is the author of The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. Nick Gray, welcome.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Say where you're joining from. We're in New York City right now. I live in the great state of Texas, and I'm excited to be here in New York, though, and I love to meet all the people from international all around that are watching this Better show with Dorie. Hey, everybody.
Hello, Nick, and hello, everyone. We're so glad to have all of you. So I have had the pleasure, Nick, of co-hosting an event with you actually last fall before you moved to Texas. We co-hosted an event in Washington Square Park in New York City, which was really exciting. But you have written this book, and I think a lot of people wonder, why are you writing a book talking about the methods and mechanism of how to host a cocktail party? Don't people know this? Can't people figure this out? Why do they need instruction? I know the answer, but why don't you tell us, Nick Gray?
You would think that they would know the answers, but the funny thing is nobody teaches adults how to make new friends. And common sense advice like hosting a well-run event for your friends, nobody actually talks about that. So there's some counterintuitive examples I have, such as what's the best day to host an event on, or what time you should do it. For example, my book is called The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. So I think there should only be 2 hours. You need to set a start time and an end time. But the big reason is that people are lonely. Nobody teaches adults how to make new friends. And post-pandemic, we've kind of forgotten how to gather. So I've written a book that can teach anybody how to host an event. Maybe not as great of an event as Dorie hosts. Dorie's a known networker who hosts a lot of professional events. But this book is written to help you if you've never hosted an event before. How to go from 0 to 1. How to host your first event. That's who I'm going after.
I love it. Nick Gray, thank you very much. We're here with Nick Gray. I'm Dorie Clark. This is the weekly Newsweek interview show Better, and Nick is the author of The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. He's going to teach you how to host your own cocktail party, and Heath the cat is going to be the first guest.
Thank you, Heath. Welcome, Heath, to the show.
Welcome, Heath. Everybody wants to have a cat at their networking party. This is a hidden secret. That's chapter 8, I believe, in Nick's book.
Chapter 8 is cats, yeah.
Absolutely. We also want to say hello to some of the great friends who are tuning in and joining us from around the world. So welcome here, everybody. This is great. We have Zulima here from Mexico. Hetty is joining from Philadelphia. Jeanette from Chile. Fredericks in Washington. Prashant from Mumbai. Allison in Sacramento. Edwin in Plano, Texas. Haley's in Kansas. Patricia is in Lagos. Michelle in Tampa. And Alicia or Alicia. I know there's so many variations and I want to get it right, but always hard from print, in Kent, UK. And Holly from Boston. We love having every single one of you. Thanks for being here. And feel free to type your questions for Nick Gray into the chat box. You can find out more about Nick. Just go to his website. It's nickgray.net.
Well, I have a question for your viewers. Can I ask a question?
Oh, do it, Nick.
I am curious, who else has hosted an event over the last year? Have you hosted something and what went well about it? Maybe a birthday party, maybe a social gathering for friends, maybe something to meet your neighbors. But I'm curious, who's hosted and what did you do that worked really well? I would love to hear from you on that. The book that I wrote, which is called The 2 Hour Cocktail Party, is really meant as a get-together or a gathering that you can eventually use to hyperdrive your professional career, launch your business or something. But at the early days for your first event, you really just want to host for your friends and neighbors because you're kind of practicing on them. So what I tell people is make your first event a low-stakes affair. Do not reach from the top shelf. Can I talk about networking? Is that okay? Or is that a bad word?
That's completely okay.
That's good. Okay. For networking, why this will be helpful for you, and Dorie knows this, is you have to add value. You have to add value first and foremost to people, and you're going to add value to people by hosting an event. You're going to become the super connector in your neighborhood or your local community. So those are my thoughts.
I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick Gray. Nick, and another important question. You had mentioned, I've read your book and really enjoyed your book. And one of the things that you talked about, which I thought was interesting, is that a mistake that a lot of people make with their first party is that they go for a big holiday. They have it be a holiday party. I don't just mean Christmas. I mean anyhow, Super Bowl party, 4th of July barbecue. You say this is not the right move. Why?
Holiday parties are the worst. Holidays are what I call red level days, and they're socially competitive. Let's talk about the days of the week, by the way, that you should be hosting your party on. I suggest that you host your party on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday night only. And why is that? Because those are not socially competitive days. They're days when more people are available to come to your event. As a first-time host, question for Dorie, what do you think is one of the biggest fears for a new host who's never hosted a party before?
I think, Nick, if you're a new host, you're probably going to say, what if no one comes?
Yes, that's exactly right. That's the number one fear, that nobody will show up. And when you follow the methods in my book, the 2-hour cocktail party, or the things that I'll tell you here, you'll have more than 93% of all the people that say that they're going to come will actually show up. And so a lot of my book is about those basics and logistics.
I love that. A question came in, Nick, from Prashant. This is a dicey one here. What do we do? Prashant wants to know, what is the most polite way to tell someone you aren't invited to my party? How would you handle this? What do you think?
Prashant, I love that question. Prashant, going up to the level 10 questions. Prashant, here's what I say. If somebody invites themselves and they're not invited, then I would say, oh my God, thank you so much. I would love to have you, but for this party, I already have too many people and I'm practicing my hosting skills and I just don't feel comfortable with having more people yet. And then I would politely say, can I invite you to another one? Right? Being maybe polite to them. Maybe you won't actually invite them, but making them feel seen and just saying, right now, I'm a new host and I don't feel comfortable having more people just yet. Good question, Prashant.
Oh, I love that. That's great. And we had someone respond to your question, Nick. Owen or Ewan. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that properly. I think it's Ewan McGregor, but maybe, I've seen it sometimes and it's Owen. But props to you. You are seen regardless of the pronunciation. Our pal here says, I hosted a business event in Dublin. The venue was excellent. It worked really well. The speakers were awesome. Attendance lower than hoped, but that's hybrid working. Yes, I love that. And that sounds amazing. And congrats on that. What do you think, Nick?
I think that's great. And Owen has gone to the top. He's got a venue. He's doing all these things. Now, let me just say this because I'd be curious for viewers right now. I suggest that you host your 2-hour cocktail party at your home. And this is a controversial idea. Owen went big to try to get a venue, but I suggest you host it at home, and I'll tell you why. Number one, you will turbocharge your connections by bringing someone into your home. Why is that? Hosting at home is more generous. There's no bar tab to take care of. And it doesn't have to be expensive, by the way. You can get all the ingredients and supplies to host a cocktail party for less than $100, maybe even less than $50. Number one, it's more generous. Number two, it's more vulnerable. When you bring someone into your home, it's kind of like going on a little date with them. You bring them into your home and you show who you are. You create these connections and you build big relationships. That's what the goal is by hosting these events, to build big relationships with small parties.
I love that. That's great. We're here with Nick Gray. If you want to learn more about Nick, just check out his book. It's the 2-hour cocktail party, and you can learn more at nickgray.net. And if you want to make sure you never miss one of our weekly Newsweek interview shows, just go to dorieclark.com. You can download a free self-assessment. You will join our email list, and you will get reminders about this and other important things that hopefully will be of interest to you. And we want to say hi to some of our great friends tuning in from around the world. Celeste is here from South Africa. We have LinkedIn friend from Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Nedward is here from Alabama, retired U.S. Air Force. Go you. That's amazing. Diana's here from Columbia, South Carolina. Cheryl's in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Yusuf is in Johannesburg. Emma from El Segundo, California. We have a LinkedIn friend from Cape Town. We've got Deepak from Mumbai. We've got a LinkedIn friend from Maryland. Nori is here from Montreal. We have Deepak again. We have Suyash from India. Annette is in New Jersey. We have amazing friends, Steph from Spain, Lucy from Fort Lauderdale, many more. We're so glad to have you. Now, Nick, an important question here. 2-hour cocktail party. What if it is going so well that everyone is having the most amazing time? Why wouldn't you just let them stay till 1 a.m? Why would that be a bad idea?
I think that kicking people out at the end when they're having fun shows them, one, that you respect their time. Because when we host a party on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, this is not a blowout bash. It's actually not about the alcohol, by the way. A fun fact is I wrote a book about how to host a cocktail party. I don't even drink alcohol. There's not a single drink recipe that's in this book, but we use that phrase cocktail party to encapsulate a social idea that's a lightweight, easy gathering, a collection of friends having little conversations. It's a low commitment for somebody to stop by a cocktail party. And you'll use that when you build and develop your loose connections, your weak ties, or what some people call your acquaintances. We find that studies have shown that you actually find out about more business and career opportunities through your network of weak ties and loose connections. And by hosting these parties, you'll be able to bring all those people into your life and build a great network. I have a fun Newsweek story sometime when appropriate.
Why don't you tell us now?
My last business did Renegade Museum tours. It was called Museum Hack. And as a way to try to grow the business, we were doing these tours at the Metropolitan Museum of Art for bachelorette parties. And Newsweek magazine wrote about my bachelorette party tours with some beautiful photos. It was a huge spread in the magazine, and it really helped us in the growth of our business. So thank you to Newsweek.
Newsweek loves Nick Gray. Absolutely. We're here talking about the 2-hour cocktail party that's Nick's new book, and in general about how to host a great networking event. So we're so glad to have all of you here. We've got Marcelo in Brazil. Alicia is in Oakland. We have Melanie in Pittsburgh. We have Anand from Bangalore. Shauna in Calgary. Daniel's in San Diego. Renee is in the land, Cleveland. We have Robert from Berlin, David from Houston, Mohammed from Cyprus, Thinia from Nairobi. We have Vanderlei Jorge from Angola. We love having all of you. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is wonderful. Sushma's here from India. This is terrific. Hetty wants to know, Nick, would these same principles actually work in the nonprofit sphere? What do you think?
I love that idea. Hetty, you can absolutely use it for a nonprofit sphere. If you want to know what the method of my book is and the method of my sort of gist of how to host a great event, remember my name, Nick, N-I-C-K, and I'll tell you what each of those letters stand for. N stands for name tags. Hetty, at your nonprofit event, you want to use name tags, and I suggest first name only in big block letters. What do you guys think about name tags, by the way? Let us know in the chat. Would you use name tags at a gathering for your friends and neighbors and colleagues, or do you think they're too formal? Let us know in the chat. We'd love to know. N stands for name tags. I stands for icebreakers. You're going to do a couple rounds of introductions so that your guests can meet each other. Icebreakers are, you say your name, say what you do for work, and I like to ask a very easy, simple question, which is, what's one of your favorite things to eat for breakfast? And if you don't eat breakfast, let us know why. That question is actually not that important. You know, we don't ask it for the breakfast. We ask just to get people to sort of signal and sound off around the room to inspire new conversations. Maybe somebody says that they love delicious pancakes soaked in maple syrup. Well, you would ask them about delicious things, or you find out where they work and strike up a conversation. Maybe somebody else says they eat healthy and fruits and nuts. Well, you talk to them about healthy or maybe hiking or something like that. But we do a simple round of icebreakers, and you're going to do 3 different ones throughout your party. N-I-C-K. The I is for icebreaker. The C is cocktails only. Do not do a dinner party. I can talk more about why that's important. And then the K stands for kick them out at the end. It's only 2 hours.
That's amazing. I think we have a question here, Nick, from Haley, who wants some specifics. She says, how do you get them to leave? We get together on Sundays and nobody ever goes home before midnight. Help this poor woman, Nick. How do we kick them out and not engender ill will?
I love this question, Haley, because this happens to so many people. How do you kick them out at the end? Well, the number one way that you can kick them out at the end is by setting both a start time and an end time for your event. Haley, I'm guessing that you probably only set a start time. Well, when you invite people to your event, you're going to tell them in advance and give them a heads up that it starts and it ends on time. What's the benefit of having an end time? Number one, people will show up on time. Have you ever started an event at 5 o'clock and somebody invites you to a barbecue? It's at Saturday at 5 o'clock. And you're like, well, I probably won't show up till 6 or 6:30 because who knows when. When you list an end time and it's 2 hours, you'll be shocked people will show up. Second, how do you get people to leave now that it's coming close? What I do is 15 minutes before the end of the event, I turn down the music and I make a last call. I'll say something like, hey, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight. We have about 15 more minutes left. So if you want to grab another drink or say hello to somebody that you didn't get a chance to meet yet, we'll wrap up in about 15 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. You'll then turn the music back up, but maybe turn the lights up. And at the end of your party, you will turn the music off, turn the lights up, make a little announcement. Thank everybody for coming. Don't forget a group photo. You got to get a group photo. And then you'll basically just start to clean up and start to tidy, and people will get the hint. By the way, one last piece of advice. Oftentimes you'll have somebody who will come up and say, I didn't get a chance. Haley, I didn't get a chance to talk to you at all tonight. Please, can we talk? And I know that it's important to end on time for myself so that I want to host again and so that I have time to clean up and rest. And so I will say, Jeremiah, thank you so much for coming tonight. I would love to catch up with you, but tonight I need to clean up and tidy to stick to my goals. Can I call you tomorrow and we can catch up? May I call you tomorrow? That will leave the person feeling seen, that they know that you want to see them, and then you can follow up later and stay on time.
So many good tips. We're here with Nick Gray. This is the Newsweek interview show Better. I'm Dorie Clark. You can learn more about Nick Gray at nickgray.net. His book is The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. There's the prop. And we've been talking about how to host a great networking event. A question came in, Nick, a clarifying question. Holly says, why do you like name tags? We know you think they're the way to go, but why is it so important?
Holly, I like name tags because increasingly I'm thinking about how to welcome in introverts, shy people, or those with social anxiety. And name tags help for that. Think about it. The sweetest sound, as Dale Carnegie says, is the sound of somebody's name. And when you can use name tags to eliminate any stress around reminding somebody's name, it really helps. Name tags also serve to visually unify your group. They know that this is not a clique. It's not a group of old friends and they feel like an outsider. It makes everybody feel like they're a part of something special. I went to this ultra expensive, I paid $8,000 to go to this CEO mastermind group, and there were 30 of us, and they did not have name tags. We were there the whole weekend, and I'm stressing, trying to remember everybody's name, and they were trying to be the cool host. They're like, well, we don't want to make it feel formal. They were trying to be the chill host, and that is not good. You want to be a host with a generous sense of authority. And by having name tags, you will add some structure to your event to make it very successful.
Oh, I'm seconding all of that, Nick. I think that's fantastic. I am extremely pro name tag. I make people wear name tags. People feel weird about it. Sometimes they're like, I don't know, do I have to? And I'm like, yes, you freaking have to. Yes. You have to make them do it because they will be grateful afterwards. Similar to you, I went to a networking event that was, weekend long thing. In this case, there were about 100 people. So I didn't even have any chance to get to know the folks and figure out who they were. There's no name tags. There were already pre-existing cliques of people who knew each other. And so it's so hard to break in when there's no context whatsoever about who the heck anybody is. So name tags are really, really important. We want to say hi to some of the great folks tuning in from around the world. And if you're enjoying this conversation, hit the like button, hit the share button so your friends can benefit from it as well. We have Ruari, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, from Ireland. We've got Chris from Germany. Noah's in Kenya. Shashidara is in Houston. Tandeka is in Johannesburg. Milton's joining us from Sao Paulo. We've got Pau from Mallorca. We've got Chandra Sekaram from Sri Lanka. So many great folks. Cynthia from Charlotte. We got Rita Marie from Ireland. And Noah says that we had our first post-COVID-19 in-person meeting, and it was amazing. Good job, Noah. We're cheering you on. That is awesome that you did that. And Nick, a question came through from a friend on LinkedIn. This LinkedIn user says, for a corporate social networking event, do you recommend charging a nominal fee? I find that sometimes when you say something's free, people just don't come. What do you think about that?
So I like to remove any barriers possible to having people show up. If it's a home party and people ask, well, what can I bring? Can I bring anything? I say, no need to bring anything, but if you want to, you could bring a bottle of something that you'd like to drink. For charging a fee and people not showing up, let me just first say that that's normal. That's normal to have no shows. And when you follow the instructions, I'll tell you how. You don't have to buy my book. When you follow these instructions, you will have more people show up. Number one, you need to collect RSVPs. I'm curious, what event platforms do you viewers and listeners use to collect RSVPs? Please let us know in the comments. I've seen people use Paperless Post, Eventbrite, Meetup, Evite. The one that I like and that I use for all my friends is called Mixily, Mixily. I have no affiliation. It's a free service. The reason I like it is there's no ads, there's no spam, and it works great on mobile. But for your event, you want to collect RSVPs, and then you want to send a series of 3 reminder messages. And then finally, you're going to do my secret weapon, which is called guest bios. As part of those reminder messages, you're going to write brief introductions or a little bit about half or more of all the attendees. And that could be, for example, if I was writing one for Dorie, it would be Dorie Clark is the author of several amazing books. She hosts a show on LinkedIn and with Newsweek magazine, and she is very famous on LinkedIn. Ask her about ping pong. That would be an example of a guest bio. And when you include several of these for your guests, it really encourages the attendance, and it's going to skyrocket your event attendance.
What a great tip. Nick Gray, author of The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. This is Newsweek's Better Show, and I am Dorie Clark. A question came in, Nick, from Rachna, and she wants to know, can you please share why you prefer cocktail parties to dinner parties? Why is this the better move?
Hold on. Controversial, because Dorie and I have different hosting styles. I want to ask Dorie why she likes dinner parties, and then I will say why I like the cocktail parties.
All right. Thank you, Nick. I like dinner parties because first of all, I am not having them at my house because I am not a chef. So I like things to be cleaned up and handled by other people, especially if you're doing a dinner party. I think honestly that it's better to have it at a restaurant because they can handle everybody's dietary mishigas, because these days everyone has a different diet. I realize I'm guilty as well. I'm vegetarian. Sorry. But anyway, so you don't want to deal with all of that. But a dinner gathering is usually a time when, it lasts a little longer. Maybe it's 2 hours. It could even be 3 hours. I actually like that. So you can go deep with people, with a small group of people, but also you don't have to kick people out. It's a little bit natural that like, okay, the meal's over, we're going to leave now. So it provides built-in cues. So that's why I go dinner party rather than cocktail party, but I am not averse to cocktail parties. I respect what Nick does, and I sometimes have cocktail parties also.
So Dorie is an advanced host, and Dorie can host a dinner party because she is an incredibly skilled facilitator. I tell people to start with a cocktail party because it is much easier, it's less work, and you'll get almost all of the benefits. A dinner party takes a lot of work, and for many people, it can be expensive, it can be stressful, and it can be an uphill battle. It's very easy to do a dinner party poorly. A cocktail party is basically almost impossible to screw up, and when you invite people to it, you have to do very little work. You're not facilitating the conversation. So I say, yes, if you want to host a dinner party and you are an expert, and if you have a formula for do them well, then you can do it. You can still use many things from my book. You can use name tags. You can collect RSVPs. You can send a series of 3 reminder messages, and you can include the guest bios. But most people, and my book is about if you're not an already host. Dorie hosts events almost weekly, so she has a skill, and she has a skill set that many people don't. For the average person, you should start with cocktail parties. And when you're ready to build deeper relationships like Dorie speaks about, then you can do the dinner parties.
Great Great comments. I love the insights. We're here with Nick Gray. He's the author of The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. And we want to say hi to some of our friends tuning in from around the world. Mark is here from Boston. We've got Marlena from Munich. We have Vilmontas from Lithuania. Lindsay's from New York City and more. And a question came in, Nick. This is a good one from Samim, who wants to know, how do you balance genders? Or, if it's singles versus married people, do you think about that? Is it weird if it's, 90% men and 10% women, or vice versa? How do we think about the quote unquote the right balance or the right mix, if there is such a thing?
Great question, Samim. So you're asking about what's the mix of men to women, singles to couples. For your first party, and I'm saying this, that if you have not been hosting regularly, because you'll get the most benefits from hosting, just like Dorie, who's made hosting a habit. When you can host regularly and you always have your next event on the calendar, that is when you can become very, very successful. So, for your first parties, I suggest the more the merrier. And you're not going to curate your guest list until you have a large address book where you can finally curate the people. At the beginning, the more the merrier, and you will not be curating your guest list. So the more the merrier.
Fantastic. Thank you. Nick, a question that I have with all of this is, when you are the host, there's oftentimes a tendency to kind of be racing around, to be worried, oh my gosh, are they having a good time? Oh, I need to refill their glass. And sometimes you might get through the entire time without actually being able to enjoy it yourself or to have a conversation yourself. How do you handle this? And is there a way to balance making sure that you are leading the gathering effectively while still making sure that you're personally having a good time?
Let me talk about that, because when you plan a networking event, when you bring people together, the benefits that you receive are not at your own event. They are from building your network and creating the connections. You will become famous and known and respected amongst your peers, your colleagues, your neighbors for introducing other people at your party. You're not looking to host this party to have fun. If I want to have fun, I'm going to go play ping pong with Dorie. I'm going to go ride my bike. I'll do something like that. As a host, you need to manage your energy. You need to minimize your stress, but I don't suggest that you focus on fun. What does that mean? It means moderate your drinking. If you like to enjoy alcohol, please be mindful. You need to be sharp in creating these connections at your event. You'll get most of the benefits when you're creating those connections in your network.
I love it. This is great. We have time probably for just about one more question, but I want to make sure that we are guiding you to the appropriate place. Nick Gray's book is The 2 Hour Cocktail Party. You can learn more at nickgray.net. We have been here for the Newsweek interview show Better. I'm Dorie Clark, and you can tune in every Thursday at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific, 6 o'clock in continental Europe. And just go to dorieclark.com/li to follow me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter, and you can get reminders about these great conversations and other topics that will be of interest. And if you have enjoyed this, hit the like and share button so other people can benefit from Nick's wisdom. It's a little controversial. Mike seems to think it's fake news about cocktail parties, but I'm going to push back and say, I think actually it's not fake news. I think you actually can use this advice to host your own cocktail party. I will allege that is in fact true news. Now, Nick, I want to, as the final question, ask you about something you were alluding to, which is following up. How do you've had, this group of people, whatever, this 10, this 20 people at your house. I mean, actually a piece of that is there a right number to cap it at? That's one question. But the second question is, once you have hosted this lovely event and people are feeling good about you, how do you follow up? How do you keep the relationships fresh?
First of all, the number of people is you want to have between 15 and 20. That is the ideal number of attendees, because less than 15 and there's not enough energy in the room. More than 20 and it's way too complicated for a new host. It's hard to manage and the icebreakers take too long. How do you follow up? Now, I can't stress this enough. You need to get a group photo at your party. The group photo, 1, will be a great memory that you can look back on and feel happy about. 2, you will use the group photo when you invite people in the future to show them that you host an event, that you actually have friends and connections, and that it's a fun time. Number 3, you'll use the group photo the next morning to follow up with a thank you note to everybody who's attending. And then you can ask them, hey, would you come again if I invite you? And who can you think of that might be great that you can invite? Because I'd love to meet somebody new.
So good. This is Dorie Clark. We have been here with Nick Gray. You can learn more about him at nickgray.net. His book is The 2-Hour Cocktail Party. And we are so glad to have had all of you here. We're here every Thursday, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Nick Gray, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you like this, press the like button to share with your friends.
See you all next week. Thanks, everyone.